Good morning. Welcome back to Homeland Security Policy and Practice. This week we are talking about money on both sides of the equation. We're going to talk a bit about how we spend money on Homeland Security and various programs and how we measure that effectiveness. We're also going to talk about how terrorists spend money, and then we're going to compare those two together. And you're going to find, it's nowhere near the same. So first, let's talk about how we spend money on Homeland Security. And there's a lot of information in the slides, as well as an article posted on Blackboard that you need to go over. But I guess the overarching goal here is all of the dollars that we've spent, not only in the past decade, but previous to that on Homeland Security or domestic defense or whatever you want to call it, is aimed at making us safer. And you should ask yourself this question right now in 2014. Are we safer than we were in September of 2001? Arbitrarily, we'll choose September 10th as a date in 2001. Are we safer today than we were before 9/11? And the answer really probably is yes. Okay. However, that is not policy, and how we spend money on policy and Homeland Security is not really and shouldn't be a Boolean type equation, a yes-no question. Are we safer? Yes, or are we not? We really need to be able to understand how we're safer. We need to be able to understand for every dollar that we spend on various programs, how is that increasing our safety? So we can ask the question, are we safer? The answer is yes, and then unfortunately what we've been doing for the past decade is using the answer yes to justify all of the spending we've done en masse since 9/11 and on all the changes that we've made, all the programs that we've instituted. So it really kind of is a false question, and it certainly should never be used to justify spending of money. We need to be a little more finite than that. Let's say that for a minute that you're going to buy a car, or you're going to get a new job, rent a new apartment, buy a house, get a dog, any type of major decision that involves not only outlay of funds now, but funds in the future. You all do, if you're making these types of decisions, some type of cost-benefit analysis. You look at what the cost is of this decision. How much is this new car going to cost me on a down payment? How much is it going to cost me per month? How much is it going to cost to put gas in it, oil, take care of? Is it going to last me 100,000 miles, 200,000 miles, or what? We make the same types of analysis when we look at any type of major purchase. And then we weigh those costs against the benefits that we're going to receive. And benefits can be tangible and intangible. It can be income from a rental property. If we're talking about buying real estate, that's a tangible benefit. If you're looking at buying a car, it can be, how it makes you feel. I really have always wanted a convertible, that type of thing. That's an intangible benefit. But both of those things are benefits to you, to the person making the decision. And you ultimately end up weighing costs versus benefits, and you make a decision based upon which gives you the greatest benefit for the least amount of cost. That's just kind of human nature and how we operate everywhere. It's also exactly how we don't operate when it comes to spending money on Homeland Security. And that's because we don't do and never have done in the previous decade, we have never done that type of cost-benefit analysis because pretty much the mandate from the White House and from Congress immediately after 9/11 was whatever you need to do to make sure that this never happens again, do it. It was literally a blank check. What do you need? What can we give you? No concern whatsoever with, okay, if I give you this, what am I going to get in return? How much security am I going to get for this $1 million? That was never in the equation. It was always a factor of, we'll give you a blank check, whatever you need to make sure that we never have to deal with a 9/11 again. And so we were basically spending blankets amounts of money for one desired output, which was never having a 9/11 happen again. So there was no way for us to do any type of analytical cost-benefit analysis. How much does it cost us to make sure that no one brings liquids onto airplanes? How much does it cost us to harden all of our government buildings throughout the nation at the local, the state, and the federal level? How much does it cost us to do that, and what are we getting in return for that? These questions have never been answered, and I really want you to make sure that you're going through all the material on the slides and understanding that. If you look historically at DHS spending programs, at their budget requests, at the budgets given them by Congress, by the reports put out from them, you are hard-pressed to find any numerical or concrete analysis of how security has been improved by spending. You will see all kinds of soft and fuzzy terms like the probability has been reduced, or it's likely that this. That's great, and again, all of this plays into that concept that we will spend whatever amount that we can to ensure that these types of attacks don't happen again. As you can see, that really plays into a worst case probability, and we'll talk about that in a minute. So all of this climate of spending and policy development that we've seen the past decade really comes down to fear and a focus not on the probability of an attack occurring, but on the consequences of that attack. And we focus more on what could happen in a worst case scenario than we do on the likelihood that it actually will occur. And that leads us really to prioritize what could be said the completely wrong things, and a focus on that driving fear. And that's why the term 1% doctrine, politics of fear, all these types of phrases have been coined in the past 12 years, is because of that lack of focus on probability and more concern on how dire the perceived threat is.